Hey, welcome back to the Club Junkie Podcast. Hopefully, you're having a great week. It is another Thursday. We are here, made it through most of the week. We're almost to the weekend, and should be a good one. I'm actually going to play some golf this weekend, which is fun. I actually played on Monday as well with a buddy of mine, so a few days ago. It's been a lot of golf. I remember I talked last week about I need to play more because the end of the year is coming. Well, I've been trying to do that. So before we get into today's episode, just want to let you know this show is brought to you by Titleist and the Pro V1, Pro V1X, and Pro V1X Left Dash golf balls. How did you play your last time out? Whether you shot an all-time low or if it was a tough day on the course, you always want to do better the next time you tee it up. And outperforming yesterday starts with trusting your golf ball. Titleist Pro V1, Pro V1X, and Pro V1X Left Dash are the most technologically advanced in the game and the ultimate golf ball performance choice. They all deliver exceptionally long distance, consistent flight, and unrivaled control. Pro V1 delivers a very low long game spin, mid-flight trajectory, maximum short game spin, and a soft feel. Pro V1 is a great fit for most players and where you might start in your golf ball fitting process. Compared to Pro V1, Pro V1X has a higher flight and a firmer feel. Pro V1X Left Dash is for players looking for flight similar to Pro V1X, but with much lower full swing spin and a firmer feel. I'm a Pro V1X guy. I love the extra spin. I love the extra height. And I hit that ball a lot better into the green. I hit a little further with the long iron, or the top end of the bag as well. But outperform your best. Learn more about Pro V1, Pro V1X, and Pro V1X Left Dash at Titleist.com. So I was actually out playing, and I was playing the Pro V1X. I was out. I got to go play on Monday. Went out. It was Veterans Day, so I went out and played. A buddy of mine works for a bank, so my buddy John and I went out and played. He was off, and I decided to go out there and film some three swing challenge stuff. So it was my excuse to go out and play, and but it was good. I hit the ball okay, not amazing, but hit the ball okay. Putted decent, but I mean, when you're filming too, a lot of times you're not really playing golf. You're just kind of like out there going through that motion, trying to set up shots and doing whatever. And by set up shots, I mean like set up the camera, do all the stuff. And it just it takes away a little bit from actually playing. So like when you see, all those YouTube golfers out there and all that, I mean, they have film crews, so it's a little bit different. But the playing golf portion of it is a little different because you are kind of worried about what you're saying, what you're doing, the type of shots you're hitting. Is it good for people viewing, not just, focusing in on just hitting the shot you're looking to hit. So it was still fun. Had a good time. The weather was pretty decent. It was chilly, but not too bad. I think it was kind of like basically mid 50s ish. We went out about 10:30 and yeah, played all 18. It was fun. Had a good time. And yeah, got some swings in. I've been hitting some balls in my net in my backyard with the launch monitor. So just trying to get as many swings in as I can before the great state of Michigan decides that's it, you're done. So just trying to do all that, but it's been good. So I'm playing again on Saturday. A guy from work, they've got a little, I don't know what it is. He showed me a thing. It's a little cash game that we're going to go play. So I'm going to go out there, play out there on Saturday, and hopefully the weather should be decent as well. Hopefully not too cold and windy, but go out there and play. I got to put the what's in the bag together. I haven't figured out what I'm going to play yet because I'm kind of debating, iron wise. I'm kind of debating, do I do the P770s? Those are what I played, or do I just roll with the Thai Fusions? Because I have been hitting those well. There's a lot of options. Then driver, I don't know. Right now, I'm thinking for what's in the bag for Saturday's round, which I can only bring 14 clubs. I got to be, I guess, a little bit more serious about it. I think I'm going to go. Man, this one's tough. I mean, in terms of driver, I'm thinking I might go GT2 with maybe either the GC or the Ventus Red. I don't know, one of the two. I might go with that. The other option I was thinking was Callaway Paradigm AI Smoke Triple Diamond Max with the Hazardous T1100 in stiff that I have. That's been a pretty good shaft out there for me in terms of control. It's not crazy long, but it does offer some good control. And then honestly, I thought about bringing the Tour Edge driver out as well, the E725. I mean, that thing's 10K, just goes stupid straight. So I thought about that one as well. But we'll see. I don't know which way I'm leaning towards yet. But 3 wood's probably going to be GT2 with the Graphic Design Tour AD CQ. It's probably going to be that. 7 wood will probably be the Ping. I'll probably bring that guy out. It's been kind of running all year. And then, not that I, same thing, not that I have to hit that many 7 wood shots, but I figured I'd bring that just in case I have a par three I can, go after in two or something like that. There is a par three on the course we're playing that depending where they put the tee box, can play really long, like two something. So that could come into play there because I can kind of land it soft. And then, like I said, irons are probably going to be either P770s or the Thai Fusions. I haven't decided yet which one, but it'll be one of those two. And then for wedges, I think I'm going to go gamer wedges. The PXG Sugar Daddy 5056, and then the 60 degree is going to be the Vokey V grind. So I think that is going to be the setup. And then putter wise, man, I don't know. I've been kind of rolling. I don't know. I've been rolling a couple putters really well. So it's like, do I take the Mez and just roll with that, or do I bring something different? So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know, but that'll be it. And then I'll probably play Pro V1X. So I have to wear a couple layers. So it'll be interesting to see what I go with. But that's kind of the initial things I'm thinking, and I'll narrow it down by the time we get there on Saturday morning. But yeah, so today we're going to talk about a little bit. I got a couple things to talk about. We're going to start off with a putter that I've been really, really impressed with. Really, really cool. And then also 2 irons. We're going to do a little bit. I mean, I've been focusing more on the 1 iron because there's kind of a player's distance and then a more game improvement iron. But we'll talk about some irons as well. So kind of 3 things, but really it's like 2.5. But we'll not jump into those. And it's been nice because putters, I've been able to putt a ton. I've got a new putting mat down here, as I think I said a couple weeks ago. So I've been rolling a lot of putts on that thing down here. The only thing is I found is I've got like kind of this like low spot in my basement where there's a drain. You have drains for your basement or floods or whatever. And as I step on it, it slides into that like low spot. So it kind of like tilts and slides on me. So I might have to find a different spot to put it or find a way to kind of like make sure it doesn't slide. I don't know yet. But it's been a pretty good mat. It's interesting. It rolls really, really well. It's not crazy fast, but it's also not slow. Like it's a mid kind of speed. It's just interesting that it's kind of loud, which at first I don't really like the loudness, but then you can really tell the difference between a putter that has like a lot of skidding and backspin and a putter that really puts a lot of topspin on the ball. So you can kind of hear it right away, a ball that kind of jumps and skids. You can just hear it instantly because like the turf, the plastic turf, whatever it's made out of, is kind of a little bit loud in that sense. But I've been rolling a lot of putts, a lot of putters here in my basement at the moment that I've been messing with. A couple I can't talk about yet. We'll talk about next week. And then a couple that I can talk about. But the first putter we're going to talk about, because I've had it down here. I've had it in the short game area for I don't know how long. And then I've also had it now on the course a couple times as well. But we have a Kevin Burns 9306 2.0. So it's a 9306 2.0 putter. So if you're not familiar with Kevin Burns putters, Kevin Burns, a long, long time legendary putter maker, has made putters that have won the Masters. I believe Jose Maria Olazabal won with one, and then I believe also a few also have been played in other tournaments by some pretty big name people. And he is kind of a legend in the putter making industry. He's been making putters for a long time. He's one of those guys that you're kind of shocked hasn't gone to a big name, company as their guy, kind of like, their Scotty. But I got to talk to him when talking about this putter, and he kind of said that isn't what he wants to do. He likes doing his own thing. He likes being his own man, doing his things his own way, and that's pretty cool. I totally respect it. He is extremely passionate about putters. We had a kind of a cool conference call talking about putters when we were getting the specs for this, and then also just in general what he's been doing with these putters and why they are the way they are. And yeah, he's a really, really fascinating guy, really cool, extremely smart, and very passionate about making some pretty cool putters. So Kevin Burns putters, he's making like a handful of styles at the moment. If you're on his site, he's got 6 different head styles at the moment. So he's got everything from mostly blades. He's got basically 4 different blades and 2 mallets. One mallet kind of looks like a number 7 style with the fangs. Another one, which I really like the look of, the 9310, has kind of the round back to it, so it's kind of like a mid mallet, but looks really, really sharp. And then yeah, he's got basically a couple blades, and they're very classic looking. And the big thing about these Kevin Burns putters, this 9306 2.0, is just that the milling on these things is absolutely fantastic. So the 2.0 here, this is basically going to be much like a answer answer 2. Or if you want to call it a Newport 2. It's got the more squared off body, more squared off bumpers. They're longer, more rectangular. When you look down at it from a dress, it's a little more boxy. And when talking with him, I kind of explained, like, that's kind of what I like. I like the little more boxy, slightly bigger look to it. And it was funny. He was like, yeah, he's like, I've got some 9306 2.0s coming off the mill, right? Just today. He's like, we'll pull one off and get it going. But this one here, like I said, a little bit squared off, a little bit more boxy, but it's not bulky. It's got a slender look to it. It's got a really proportionate look to it. And he's also gone kind of a modular route as well. So the necks on here are all basically bolted on. You can see on the bottom, you can bolt them, and you can actually buy a new neck. So if it was something where you bought a putter and then, I don't know, changed putting strokes, did something, and you wanted a new neck, just wanted to change it up, you could actually order just the neck from him and replace it. And he even said, he's like, most of the time you would, mill these things one piece steel, and that gets you the best feel. And he said, but if you know how to really do these hosels and the way they connect into the heads, he's like, you'll never know that it's not one piece. And he was kind of very adamant about that because, again, the milling work on this putter is absolutely unbelievable. I have not seen too many putters that look this good. And when you start looking at all the milling lines and all that, there's just almost more to look at. It's almost kind of like a piece of artwork in a sense. Like you just notice stuff every time you look at it that you didn't notice before. So it's very cool and very nice. But yeah, it has that. So it's got a modular neck. You can get like mine just has a traditional plumber's neck, standard plumber's neck. They make a tall plumber's neck if you want to have a little more face balance putter. And then you can get a little flow neck or a little slant neck that should add toe hang. And then they also make what they call a post style, where you can put like a double bend shaft in to probably make it fully face balance, I would guess. But a couple few different neck options. And then head weights, you can kind of order it between 340, 350, 360 grams. So, I played my putter short at 33 inches. So this is the 360 gram version. And if you look on the bottom, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can see that the weights are actually 2 different sizes. So the weight in the heel is smaller than the weight out in the toe. And these are both tungsten weights. And the reason for this is, as Kevin was saying, to get the thing perfectly balanced and get the sweet spot where it needs to be and the center of gravity and all that, there's more mass in the heel of the putter because there's the hosel there and all that. So you need to add some weight out to the toe to get the balance just right and to make sure that, not only does it swing correctly through the stroke, but also at impact that the center, the sweet spot, the center of the club is in the center of the club. And it makes a total, makes total sense. The other cool thing that's about this putter is the face, which again, if you're watching on YouTube, you can kind of see it. It's a little hard to see here, but he's got this pyramid face, and it is basically, I'm going to guess, hundreds of little pyramids that are milled into the face. This is all, the putter head itself, the hosel is one piece milled, and then it's connected to the head, which is all one piece milled. So this face, they make 2 different faces. They make a traditional kind of milled face that you would normally see on a lot of putters, and then this pyramid face that they have on the front. And basically this one here is to help with distance control. So I guess with the smaller amount of surface area that's touching the ball, it's supposed to help with distance control and make sure you're not hitting putts that just blow by, or you catch something funny and it rolls further past or comes up short or anything like that. This adds some consistency to the roll of the ball, and it also offers what I think is an extremely soft feeling putter, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But this thing here is exceptional. He said there's very little hand polishing and hand work that needs to be done once it comes off the mill. These things are milled out of 303 stainless steel. And like I said, when he said that, I kind of was like, okay, that's interesting. And then I started looking at like some of the round features on the bumpers and stuff like that, and they just look like they're polished. And then when you run your nail over it, you can actually feel the milling marks. Like you can't see them, but if you run your nail over it, you can kind of feel that little bit of like, grittiness in a sense, or your nail touching the milling marks, and you actually can't see them, which is really, really amazing to see that kind of level of detail. I love the top line has kind of like mill lines that run heel to toe. On the toe and the heel, the milling lines go like around onto the sole and then back up. It's really, really done nicely. And I've owned a lot of mill putters. I've owned a lot of high-end mill putters. I've owned a lot of expensive mill putters. And when I opened this thing up and took the thing out of the head cover, I was really, really shocked at how great this thing really looked. And I don't get wowed by a whole lot of putters anymore. Very few, to be honest. It's more, you pull it out, you kind of look at the head style, maybe there's a cool finish, whatever. And this thing is super simple, but it just wows you. Like I said, the milling lines on the shoulders, on the bumpers, all that is so good. It's so subtle, it's so little. But you then, as you look closer and closer, you start noticing more and more, and you realize that, you know, this is fully milled, and his, comment about minimal hand polishing has to be true, because every surface here you can basically run your nail on and feel the milling lines on it, which is just kind of crazy. I love that it's really simple in terms of the graphics. There's really not much. There's his Kevin Burns kind of campfire logo on the heel, on the face, and then on the back cavity, the Kevin Burns same thing, flame on there. That's it. That's all there is. Nothing on the sole. Sole's blank, other than the two movable weights. And then on top you have your sight line, which if you order one of these, you have a few different options for sight lines. You can do something like a line on the top, line on the flange, just a line on the flange, which is what I went with, just a simple line on the flange, just a line on the top line. You can do the sight dot, or you can just do nothing, go naked with it. So have your choice of a bunch of options, and then if you want to do some kind of engraving or whatever with your name or whatnot, you can also do that. So a lot of different stuff there. You got two different finishes. This is the standard stainless steel kind of finish, and then they also make a flame finish as well. So this is satin silver, and they make it come out like a brownish flame finish as well, which I think would look really, really cool. And then you can go in and change all the paint color, paint fill as well if you order it online. They've got a whole little configurator, and it actually is really nice. It's kind of like 3D. You can kind of move the putter all different ways, and look at it and see all the kind of stuff to it, and it's pretty cool. It's a really nice thing that they have set up online, that you can check it out and do all your kind of custom options. Do you want the standard face, pyramid face, and all those things are options on there, which I think is really, really cool. And for something that's expensive like that, or pyramid grooves, they call them, I'm sorry, but the pyramid groove face. But if it's something where this is a high-end putter, this isn't cheap. These are $4.99 to start, and then the pyramid groove face adds $100. Now, this pyramid face, as I was talking to Kevin, he said, I think this takes between 30 and 60 minutes to do extra. So if you decide to get the pyramid groove face on your putter, it adds another 30 to 60 minutes in the mill to get done, which is just crazy to think. But when you look at it and you see it in person, it is extremely intricate. These little pyramids are so tiny, and it is very, very cool. I mean, it looks kind of like an insert, but it is not an insert. It is fully milled in there, and it's very, very cool looking. So overall, I think the shaping of it, extremely classic, very classic. When you set it down, it's got just enough, I think, width from front to back. It's not too narrow, not too thin. Proportionate-wise, I think it's good. Heel to toe length is nice as well. It just has this nice kind of boxy shape, looks very uniform. The plumber's neck sets in really nicely. You get that full shaft offset, and the toe hang to it is probably about, I don't know, say 4 o'clock. I wouldn't say it's too much more than that. I'd say about 4, maybe 4:30 at the most. So pretty traditional toe hang there with the standard plumber's neck. And as I said, just a beautiful putter. I mean, it really is. When I played on Monday, had it in the bag, and my buddy John, who played with me, pulled it out, and he was, same thing, extremely impressed. And he's a guy who's got a Scotty in the bag, and he pulled this thing out and just was like, wow, that looks really, really good. He was very impressed with it, with not only the looks, but the putting with it as well. He took a few putts with it just to try. And then come with it, it's pretty cool. You can get... usually stock, you're going to get just a steel shaft on here, but you can also, and then also you'll have, he's got a Kevin Burns very cool Iomic grip on there. So it's got the Kevin Burns kind of signature logo on there. I, of course, being me, immediately pretty much, I took some putts with that shaft and then that grip combo, and it was really good, but then I immediately yanked it out and put in a Mitsubishi Diamana P105 1.0, and then put on a Super Stroke Pistol 1.0, the Zenergy Pistol 1.0. So built that thing up. It's built at 33 inches. It is 1 degree flat, but standard loft at 2.5 degrees, and the weight is 360. So built exactly to my specs, 33 inches. Got it, and honestly, it was funny because we were talking to Kevin, and he was like, what do you usually play? And I was like, yeah, I usually play it a little bit flat. And he's like, wow, that's interesting. You know, you get over the ball like that, but you play it flat. Usually guys who kind of get over the ball, get the eyes on top of the sight line, you know, play it a little more upright. But I was like, no, I'm usually, you know, a little bit flat. And when it came in, it's flat and it sets perfectly on the ground. I was really amazed. Like I set it down. And with me, some putters, you know, you do have to kind of like drop the hands a little bit or whatever to get the putter to look kind of right on the ground or get it level. It sat right down perfect. So I think we nailed the specs on it. Really, really nice. But overall, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say. I mean, I really don't in terms of looks, quality, fit, finish, all that. Absolutely top notch. Absolutely amazing. Like I said, milling's crazy. There's just something to look at with this putter every time you look at it when it's in your hand. So the finish is like super rich. It almost looks like it was like painted on, but it's not paint because there's no way you'd be able to kind of feel the tiny, you know, milling things with paint on there. So the finish is, you know, really deep, really rich. The milling's phenomenal, and the thing, you know, two pieces that come together, you know, almost seamlessly. If you know, look on there, you can kind of see, you know, where the seam comes together for the hosel and the head, but there's nothing loose there, and I mean, it's rock solid. So overall, really, really impressed with the look. I think, like I said, the shaping is really good. I like the look of it. I'm glad I went with the 2.0. I was kind of looking at the standard 9306, which is a little more rounded. And then they've got another model too in terms of the blades. I think it's the 9304. That's even a little more rounded off, and the bumpers are a little more blended, especially down near the heel. So 9306 2.0, really impressed. Like I said, kind of answer to Newport 2 style. If you're kind of looking at the head shape, that's what it looks like the most. And then got this thing. The first thing I did was when I got it, I took it, you know, down here in my basement on the putting mat and was hitting some putts with it. And the feel on it is really, really good. Extremely soft. Again, I'm a guy who uses Pro V1X a little bit on the firmer side. When you get into some of these milled putters, especially some stuff with like really smooth face millings and things like that, it's a little firm. You get a little click. You get some, you know, a little bit of vibration when you hit it on the center. Like, you know, you're playing a Pro V1X with some of these milled putters. And the first putt I hit, I was just like, wow, this thing is incredibly soft for, you know, an all milled putter, and even playing, you know, a firmer ball. And down here putting, really, really good. Love the feel, love the responsiveness. When you catch a dead center, it is almost like hitting a forged iron, where you kind of, I wouldn't say wouldn't feel it, but it's just got that soft, and it just goes. It's got like a little kind of barely even a click. It's more of kind of like a thud. The ball comes off the face, and it puts some nice top spin on the ball. Rolls really well. As I was saying earlier on my mat, you can really tell when stuff skids, and there's none of that. Like, you get that initial, when every putter, I think, has just that little hop, and you hear that kind of go, and then the ball takes off and immediately starts rolling. The roll is really, really good. A lot of topspin initiated immediately. No real hopping or skidding to be seen. And then you know, down here, distance control. I mean, it's hard to say. You're hitting, you know, like a 9-foot putt, but putt after putt, just loving the feel of it. You know, when you miss it a little on the toe or the heel, it gets a little firmer, but not much. And it's more, you hear a little bit more that you missed it. So it goes from a thud to just a little bit of a click as you get out, but very, very minimal. And it's easy to kind of square this thing up and hit putts in the center. You know, there's some putters you just get them, and as you kind of just take some, you know, some strokes in the air, practice strokes with it, you really have a good feel of what really feels good in your hands. And this immediately felt really, really good. You know, as I brought it back, and I have a little bit of arc in my stroke, not too much. The putter came back, and then as it came through, it came through square and drove right through the ball. It was really, really nice, and the balance of it really, really solid. So sound and feel really good, especially indoors, putting on a mat. It was actually really good. I was making a lot of putts, and when I wasn't making them, I was missing, you know, like just hanging on the edge of this mat down here. So the way it's set, it's got a little break from right to left, and the putts, like I said, that I didn't make were, you know, just on the edge there. So down here, I was really impressed. Love the sound and feel, everything about it really good. Then went out to the short game area like a couple days later, and I was out there for like an hour and a half, because I had a couple wedges, I had this putter, and I was just kind of going between stuff, hitting wedge shots, going around putting. And the nice thing is sometimes you have putters that indoors they feel and sound and do things one way, and then you get outside and it's like a different world. Not at all. The big thing with this thing is when I came outside, even on longer putts, you throw the ball down, extremely soft, really responsive feel, really sounds and feels good. The feel and sound didn't change. Like they didn't, I've noticed a lot of stuff that changes from indoors to outdoors, and it didn't. You get that same really soft feel, you get that same nice kind of thud, solid sound to it, and it just continued. So whether you're hitting a, 3 foot putt to finish out that par, or you've got a lag putt, the feel on this thing was really, really good. Still really, really soft, even when you had that 20, 30 foot putt that you're hitting out there, really soft feel to it. And the ball came off again with really good roll, no skidding, no hopping. Even when you're hitting it hard and you kind of miss hit it a little bit because you were trying to put a little something on it, the ball came off with a nice roll. Worst I ever saw was when I really missed hit one. It kind of hopped a touch and just kept rolling on. It didn't skid. It didn't jump around. It had one little hop and it went. And that was something that I basically caught on the inside heel, trying to kind of add a little oomph into the putt to make sure it got there. But that part there was really good. Alignment, really, really easy. I mean, single sight line, pretty simple. I like the boxier look because I feel like that boxier look, using the top line in the back of the putter, I can kind of see is it open or close. Really easy to get aligned to the target. Really simple with just a single sight line. And then the milling stuff is interesting. You don't really notice it. Like the top line, when you're sitting there holding it, it's got these, horizontal or mill marks or mill lines that run from heel to toe. When you're out there in the sun and stuff, you really don't notice it. Like I kind of, I look at it now and I'm like, yeah, it's there. But when I was out there putting, like I didn't really see it. It wasn't something that jumped out at me. And then the same thing playing. When I was out playing the other day, just really didn't notice it. It just really blends in well with the head. Glare hasn't been a problem. On Monday I played, it was overcast, didn't matter, but the putter was easy to look down at. But on the short game day, totally sunny out, no glare whatsoever. Didn't have to worry about anything blinding, reflecting, any of that. And then distance control I think is solid. Whether you're hitting a really long lag putt, this thing does not have anything that the ball jumps off the face and feels like it really goes. I've had some putters, especially stuff with some of the roll faces and things like that, the things that have the milling on them that's supposed to provide more forward roll, and some of those are a little hot. Like the ball comes off fast, and you got to get used to it. And you got to kind of dial it back a little bit. This one, I feel like you can be a little bit more aggressive. It doesn't have that same heat. The ball doesn't just jump off the face. It comes off at a normal speed. It's consistent, and you actually feel like you can almost be a little bit more aggressive with your stroke and hit a little firmer putt to ensure that it gets to the hole or gets just by the hole. And it was, extremely repetitive in terms of distance. I felt like even on the mishits, which I don't think he really promotes this in a sense, but even the mishits felt like they carried a lot of speed and got close to the hole, where you'd see other putters, with a very traditional milling just kind of drop off, or come up short of where you were aiming. And this seemed to carry a little bit more ball speed across the face. Now, I do have to say, so far I've putted really well with this. I haven't really missed the center of the face a whole lot. I've been getting it very, very close. I mean, I'm not perfect. I'll never say that. But the overall, distance control and the consistency of it is really, really good. I think there is something to this pyramid groove, and hitting a dead center, it's going to produce the same roll every single time. It's not going to be super hot, super fast off the face. It's going to be controlled. And if you want to hit it, hard and get it by the hole, then you're going to hit it firm. And if you want to, hit a little softer lag putt up there and play a little more break, you can do that. Like that, it's not something you have to judge very much. You just, take a little shorter stroke, or take a little longer stroke, and you're going to hit those distances that you want to hit with no problem. Now, if you put one of these in the bag compared to having something that had a face on it that put a lot of forward roll, you're almost going to feel like it's going to take you a little bit to hit it firmer to get it there. Like the first few putts, you'll probably leave short because this just doesn't produce crazy hot ball speed off the face. It produces consistent ball speed, and it's very very dialed in and very easy to predict. So overall, this thing has been really, really good. I've really liked it. I feel like this thing, when you look down at it, like I said, it's just a thing of beauty. The one interesting thing is every once in a while on the putting mat, the sole has these milling lines that run heel to toe. It does give you a little zip type feel when you pull it across the mat. The plastic on it just kind of has that little sound, which is pretty funny. Outside, I didn't notice that at all. but down here on the mat, I did notice it, which was kind of funny. But this thing has been really, really good. I've been really impressed with it. And the more, like I said, I putt with it, the more I really like it. So this thing's definitely got a shot at being in the bag. Like I said, this setup with the Super Stroke grip and the Diamana, it just felt so good, and it's been super, super consistent. So as long as I read the putt right and I hit it with some decent speed, I've got a chance to make a putt. So it is definitely not the putter's fault. And to be honest, Mr. Burns there is a phenomenal miller of putters, because this thing is very, very, very cool. So awesome putter, super impressed with this thing. I've really liked it, and it is definitely one of those that is going in the full rotation of being in the bag a whole lot, especially come spring when I start playing more and more. But really impressed with this thing. If you want to check out and then head cover, did a great job with this. It's pretty cool. It's got his little logo on it, the little flame, the K that kind of looks like logs, like a campfire, and then it just says like Burns and has the little flame logos in black. Magnetic, super plush inside, really nice head cover as well. So they did a nice job there. They didn't cheap out with like some Velcro thing. Really nice, and it actually feels too like some of these. I've had a lot of putters in my basement at the moment, a lot of new ones, and there's a few that have these magnetic closures that you can actually feel like the magnets are moving around almost, like they move as you put the club head cover in. These are low. They're in where the neck is going to be, and they don't seem like they're going to move, which is really, really nice. So good head cover as well. I mean, I know that's some people, that's a big deal. I think it's very cool that the attention to detail from the detail in the putting down to the detail on the head cover has all been thought of. So again, if you want to check out all the putters that Kevin Burns has to offer, look at kbgolf.com. So KB as in boy, golf.com. It'll take you to his site, and check out all the different putters, all the options. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. So they're doing some pretty awesome stuff. They've done some really cool kind of custom stuff that I've seen out there. Out there that he's done some, like, I don't know if they're prototypes and stuff like that. The tour issue logo that he's got on some of his stuff, super, super cool. So definitely, Mr. Kevin Burns is doing some cool things, and it's pretty impressive. So yeah, follow, go to their site. If you look them up on Instagram as well, they've been posting a lot of their putters on there, and there's some really, really cool stuff. So check out the Kevin Burns putters. You won't be disappointed. They're really, really nice. So that is the 9306 2.0 Kevin Burns putter. So been impressed, and yeah, excited to use it some more. So that is that. The next thing we're going to move into is some irons. Now, some irons that are direct-to-consumer irons. I know I don't hit a ton of direct-to-consumer stuff just because those guys do things a little differently. There's not like, set launches and things like that. So, but I'm talking to Josh Haywood over at Haywood Golf for a little bit throughout this year, just about kind of stuff that's coming out and all that. And he kind of let me know, hey, we've got some new irons that just hit, and we've got 2 new ones. So the one that people are probably most familiar with is called the SV2, which is the Haywood signature iron, and this is the V2 version, the signature V2, which is brand new. The signature iron was kind of their first iron that came out, and was a really well received. A lot of people played them, a lot of people liked them. More game improvement style, multi-piece, foam filled, and they are built for distance and forgiveness. And they have a brand new one out, the new finish, new look, all that. Some new kind of custom options also. And then one that I think a lot of people are really excited about is the new PD1, which is the player's distance iron. So this is the first kind of player's distance iron they've done. They've done some blades, some like really nice like milled blades, cavity backs and stuff like that in the past as well. But I think this is their first jump into kind of that player's distance category, which is kind of oh so hot at the moment. Everybody's kind of going after player's distance irons because I think a lot of players like myself who, you're maybe a single digit or struggling, or you're coming up from being a scratch player to, hey, I've got kids and a job and a life now, and my days of practicing are kind of over. I want something that looks good, looks thin, looks small at a dress, but I need a little help. There's becoming more and more of those irons out there as we go along, and as kind of the manufacturing changes and updates, and there's more things you can do. You can take a small package like this and pack a ton of tech into it. You can make it fast, you can make it forgiving, you can make it sound and feel good. You can kind of do a whole lot of things, and this iron definitely is one of them. So I've had both of these. I just have 7 irons of both, so I don't have like full sets. So I haven't been on the course with either one of them, but I have been hitting them in my net quite a bit and hitting a bunch of shots. So I've got a little bit of data on them. But in terms of looks, I think they look really good. I think Haywood, his team over there, did a really nice job on these things. They've kind of got this nice kind of satin. They call it a fog silver finish. It's kind of a satin finish. Really simple rear cavity. Just got a few different kind of facets on the back, but overall really, really clean. Kind of look like muscleback blades in the bag if you just kind of walk by and glance really quickly. The nice thing is even the signature iron kind of has, slightly more pronounced, but, it's still got that really, clean, classic look on the back. Something that, if you buy these and you have them in the bag for a few years, they're not going to look kind of outdated and weird and old with some funky colors. They just have kind of the Haywood signature logo and SV2, and that's it. And and the club on the bottom. But yeah, they're really simple, really classic. They look really good. The SV2s are definitely a little bit larger, got a little more offset, a little bigger club head, a little thicker top line overall, but they are built for distance and forgiveness and game enjoyment. They're built for people who want some help, want to have a better time hitting high, long shots that go somewhat straight. SV2 is basically built for you. Kind of cool. Also, they're doing some kind of custom ferrules with their builds also. So if you go in and you kind of configure your iron set, you can get not only can you get a few different shafts and all that, but you can also get a few different different ferrules on there, which is really cool. They've got a handful of different ones, which is pretty awesome. So anything from wild pink and black and blue and neon colors to something that's just something silver with like black with maybe a blue ring. Like this one's pretty simple here. It's just black with blue and with 2 blue rings and a silver ring on it. Really classy, really nice looking. You almost don't even notice it at a dress, but then when you pick up the club, you realize, oh, that's kind of cool. It's something a little bit different. So kind of nice that they have that. But they do have a lot of custom options. I mean, you can build, you can change up the length. You can basically have a few different shafts to pick out there. And then in terms of lofts and lies, you can kind of change there as well. They'll do stuff a degree strong, degree weak, flat or upright, all that. So it's kind of nice that not only are you getting good value out of something, you can custom order it if you know your specs and want to dial it into your game. So both these irons here are pretty decent in terms of price for basically a 4-through pitching wedge set. You're looking at $6.99. Now they do have some the ferrules add a few dollars, and if you want a different shaft or whatever, like you can definitely up that price a little bit. But if you just buy a stock set 4-through pitching wedge of the PD1s or the SV2s, it looks like $6.99 is your price point, which is pretty good for the most part. That's about half the price or close to it of a lot of the irons out there. Like if you compare these are kind of like in the realm of kind of like a 790, maybe an AI. An Apex AI 200. These are kind of in that vein, and those are all $1,200-$1,300, and these are $6.99. So definitely some savings there. I will say one thing that I was kind of impressed with that I mean it's kind of stupid, but I liked it. The Haywood grip that comes on here is just like a stock kind of like Tour Velvet style grip, and it's just like a standard size, whatever. It's actually got some nice tackiness to it. It's a little bit softer than a Tour Velvet. Got a little bit softer rubber, but it's kind of tacky. I don't know longevity, all that. I don't know how long it'll last or whatnot. How many, depending on how many rounds. But I do have to say that I kind of like the tackiness and that's just that hair softness of it. It fit in the hands really well. So the Haywood Golf grip is actually fairly solid, and at least right out of the box feels pretty good. So they were nice enough to build these both up with Project X 6.0s. I didn't necessarily ask for this shaft, but they just threw in a nice kind of standard or slightly upgraded shaft. But the nice thing is they put it in both, so when I kind of hit them side by side, you can kind of get definitely get some distance or get some numbers that correlate with each other because it is the same shaft and the same length, all that stuff. But yeah, the SV2s look really good. Like I said, they are bigger club head. If you're looking for more forgiveness and a little more height, all that, the SV2s are great. If you're like me, who you want to look at a blade or you want to look at something small, but you know you need some help, the PD1 is kind of your jam. So this thing here is a 17.4 stainless steel body, and then it is a S450 stainless steel face. So face is thin, and then this one here has, they both got foam put in there, 18 grams of foam in the SV2, 11 grams of foam in the PD1. So you know the sound and feel is going to be really, really solid. But SV2 looks really good for what it is. I mean, it definitely has offset. It's definitely got a thicker top line. It's a bigger club, but again, for that player, that's what they're looking for, which is fine. They don't, the player's looking for forgiveness and looking to hit it higher and longer and straighter. They don't mind having a little bit of offset in there and a little bigger club head, and that's totally awesome because that's what they need. The PD1 definitely has reduced all of that. The top line is actually pretty darn thin. I put it up. I think the blade length and size is actually really similar to I-230, but the top line's thinner. It's got just a little bit of offset to it, and the leading edge is just a little bit rounded. So, I mean, to my eye, I would love that to be slightly straighter. But other than that, it is a really, really good looking iron. It's got a really squared off toe, which a lot of people like. Better players tend to like that little more squared off toe. But overall, really solid. The sole width is fairly narrow. It's not too crazy, not too wide. But it also has what looks like enough bounce that it's going to give the turf pretty well and not dig too much, which is really good. But overall, really good package in the PD1. I think these things look really good. Again, at $699. It's like half the price of a P770 or even, an Apex Pro, I guess. Apex Pro probably a little bit smaller than this, but it would be kind of in the same area. Definitely cheaper than, say, like a Thai Fusion or something like that. But these things look really good, look solid. I think, like I said, I think they did a really nice job on this player's distance iron. I think a lot of people will enjoy the look and all that. Now this one here, I mean, they even say SV2 launches higher. PD1 launched a little bit flatter. Sound and feel really, really good. They definitely sound good and feel good. They've got a soft feel to them. That foam definitely dampens some of the vibration in both of these heads. I would argue that the SV2 is almost on the borderline of too soft. I think that 18 grams of foam, the first shot I hit, which is simply the first shot I hit with every club, is just absolutely flushed. And I almost didn't know I hit the ball. It was one of those the ball left and that was it. And it was like, what happened? But that one there, the SV2, which sounds and feels really good, it is really, really soft. When you hit it, when you flush it, you almost don't know you hit it. It just kind of leaves the face. And when you hit it, you get a little bit more vibration, but it's still really muted, really soft, and you lose a little bit of responsiveness with it, which I think is good. I think for the player with this, because they're probably not going to hit the center that often, you're going to get good feel and sound no matter where you hit it on the face. Now, for the player who, probably fits more to the PD1, this is probably going to not have the responsiveness they want. They're probably going to sit there and say, where did I hit it on the face? Like, did I hit it on the toe? Did I hit the heel? Did I hit it thin? And to go and adjust your swing around that miss is going to be a little more difficult to do with the SV2. It just really is soft. Like, the ball just is gone. Like, it almost makes no noise. It just kind of, and it's gone. And it's really interesting. So the really good shots are extremely soft. Now, the PD1 is definitely a little bit more responsive. It's definitely got a nice sound to it. A little bit of click, nothing too crazy, but a little bit of click to it when the ball leaves the face. It's a little firmer than, say, a P770, but on here too, like, this isn't labeled as a forged material. It's probably cast and set, which is still fine. It definitely still feels really good, but it's got just a little bit more firmness to it, a little bit more click than, say, some of the other hollow bodies out there. It's definitely not offensive. It's definitely not anything that you're going to gawk at. It just, as many of these irons as I get to fortunately hit, it is just a slightly hair on the firm side. But again, at the price point, I would have no problem with that. They still feel plenty good and sound plenty good on there. Now, this one here, you will get more responsiveness out of it. When you hit it a little bit low on the toe, you're going to get that slightly louder sound. You're going to get a little more firm feel. You're going to feel a little bit more vibration. These ones definitely here, the PD1, are going to offer a little bit more responsiveness when you hit those shots. So really, really solid, though. I mean, like I said, for the money, I mean, you're definitely not going to be bummed out and think they don't sound or feel good, because they definitely still do. But these things here are really solid. Both of them produce really, really good ball speed and really good numbers. So hitting the PD1, I'll kind of go through kind of both of them for you. The other thing that I noticed too, this here, the PD1, for me, actually kind of started on a little bit of a straighter line. Like when I hit both of them, The SV2 kind of started on a line that was just a little bit left of target, and this one was basically right down the line, and then even had a couple that I was able to kind of hit out to the right, which for me is kind of a struggle. I hit most of my stuff to the left. But overall, really, really good, really easy to hit. And yeah, I did notice a little bit of flight difference between the PD1 and SV2 hitting them side by side. So carry distance on both of them, and they both actually have slightly different specs. So the SV2 7-iron comes in at 29.5 degrees, and the PD1, the 7-iron, is 30.5. So you've got a slight difference there, about a degree difference. So nothing crazy, but they are slightly different specs in terms of the loft on the irons. So pitching wedge on the PD1 is going to be 45, where the pitching wedge on the SV2 is going to be 43. 4-iron will be 19 for the SV2 and 21 degrees for the PD1. So definitely a little bit weaker lofts on these, but they do on the PD1s, but they definitely have, as they say there, they've got a little higher CG to have a more penetrating ball flight. And I kind of noticed a little bit of that hitting them. So on there, the carry numbers for these, for the PD1, these are both 7-irons with Project X 6.0s. Carry distance average 161, which I thought was really good because, again, I don't take out the poor strikes and just leave the good strikes. I leave both of them in there. So 161-yard carry, I usually play about 160-yard 7-iron. Like that's my go-to. So looking at the average and showing that I can average that even with the bad shots is pretty darn solid. SV2 was definitely long, 166. I want to say like the first shot out of that thing was like 175 yards, 176 yards. I was like, whoa, this thing's like club longer, if not almost club and a half longer. It shot out of there. I did see a few longer ones with the PD1, but nothing like that. Saw some high 160s and 168s, things like that, but I never saw anything in the 17s, which again, I'd play like a 167 iron, so that's kind of where I should be. But 166, so the SV2 for me, about 5 yards longer, with just, even though it's a 1 degree, I think that really hot face and all that, it definitely made a big difference. So 5 yards longer with the SV2. Spin-wise, the PD1 definitely spun more. It was 5,838 RPM. It was average spin. That was with Pro V1 RCT ball on a full swing kit simulator, or full swing kit, which I still think that number is a little bit low. I feel like they spun a little bit more. I mean, I saw a lot of balls in the 6s. Anything I drew kind of dropped significantly on the launch monitor, but 5838, which I think is decent. I mean, most of the fitters I talk to now, I mean, the rule of 7-iron spinning 7,000 doesn't really apply to a whole lot of people anymore. I mean, maybe if you're playing, a really high spin iron like a Blade or something like that, then yes, you'll kind of do that. But most of the more distance oriented stuff is lower spin than that. So getting up to 7,000 with a 7-iron is just not realistic. So right around 6,000, I'll take that. I'm going to assume there's probably going to be very few flyers or anything like that that are going to come from this iron. SV2 definitely spun less. I averaged 5,209 RPM with that. Definitely saw a few low ones. If I hit it left, those things drop pretty good. I saw some stuff in the low 4s that I was like, wow, that really was going. And, that also kind of helps with how long those things go, the distance with them. Ball speed, I think is a decent difference as well. The Haywood PD1, I averaged 113.8, which I think is pretty good for 7-iron. And a guy who's only swinging about 85 miles an hour with a 7-iron. Pretty solid. The SV2 beat it though by 3 miles an hour, or almost 3 miles an hour, at 116.1. So SV2 definitely has some heat to it. Even at 1 degree stronger loft, it's producing a good amount of ball speed. So the consistency in terms of ball speed on the SV2 is really, really good. You could hit it all over the face. It held up a lot of ball speed. PD1, you saw a little bit more of a drop. And again, you got a smaller iron. It's not built for, hitting it everywhere on the face. That's going to assume that you're going to be a little closer to center. So the drops on those poor shots were just a little bit more than the SV2, but it still retained ball speed really, really well. Launch angle, I went 16.2 with the PD1, so a little bit flatter, a little bit lower compared to the SV2, which was at 17.1, so almost a degree difference in launch, which I guess you could say that's the degree on the loft on both irons. So 1 degree difference launching the SV2 just a little bit higher. And then the apex ended up being 10 feet different. So my apex with the PD1 was 76, apex with the SV2, 86. So, with that higher launch, hit it a little bit higher with the SV2. And again, that all kind of brings into that 5 yards of carry difference. Smash factor on this, 134 with the PD1, 1.4 with the SV2. So, that it was a big thing there was just the amount of the smash factor, the ball speed on that SV2 was just really, really high. So those are the numbers with them, comparing them. Again, I think, if you're looking for something that's a club that want a little bit of distance, you want a little bit of forgiveness, you want that playability, but you don't want to look at something big, the PD1 is an awesome option. I think it's a good addition to the Haywood line. I think for the money, they're a great value. I think they perform really well. They sound and feel really good, and for $699, I'm assuming plus shipping and stuff, but $699, I think you're getting a really good deal on a brand new set of clubs that can be built to your specs, for that price. So they did a really nice job, and even you can throw in some custom options for a few dollars more and stuff like that, which makes it pretty cool. So both these irons, I think, are really solid. From the 7-irons, I have both. I mean, the build quality looks really nice. The ferrules are turned down. They blend well with the hosel. They're not, sticking out, or they're not lopsided or whatever. They look really good. The finish on there. And like I said, the Haywood grip is actually pretty solid. It's got some good tack to it. But yeah, both these here, have their kind of cool custom. The PD1's kind of got this like dark green with kind of like 3 different color rings. Pretty cool. They offer that. And it's kind of tall too. It's like a really tall ferrule, so you kind of have that cool look. But both these really solid. I think they did a nice job on these irons. I think the PD1's a great addition. The SV2 is a great upgrade from the previous model. They've also still got a few different models on there as well. They've got what is it? I think they still got their kind of milled blades and all that. That are a little more expensive, but still, I mean, even for like a milled cavity back, it's like $7.99. So really good price on those. But a really solid set of irons at a really good price. And again, having the ability to adjust some of the custom options. You're not just stuck with one thing. If you were just go buy a set that was used or whatever, you can get basically a really nice set built right to your specs. And with a few different shafts, you can get some stuff. They've even got like steel fiber on there now. It's a little bit of an upcharge, but they definitely have some steel fiber options, Nippon, all that. They do add a little bit of money to the price, but the stock shaft is being a dynamic gold or an Elevate 95 or dynamic gold 105, 120. Any of those there is a pretty good option. So. Yeah, if you want to check out more, check out the specs, check all that out, go to haywoodgolf.com, Hay woodgolf.com. They've got everything on there. They've got some other new stuff. They've got a driving iron. They've got, wedges. I mean, they basically have the full thing from woods down to a golf bag. So you can basically have a full look. They've got a really nice putters as well that, like, for $100, $200 look really nice. So haywoodgolf.com. Check out all the different iron options you have there, but the new Signature V2s and the PD1s, the player distance, are really solid. So that's all I've got today. If you're not following me on Instagram, please do. We just did my usual Q&A, my Wednesday Q&A yesterday. Did that, had a ton of questions. It was awesome. Thank you everyone for participating. And if you follow me there at Club Junkie Pod, if you want to watch us on YouTube, just search Club Junkie or Golf WRX Radio. And if you could like, subscribe, follow, whatever, wherever you want to, that would be awesome. I would greatly appreciate it. So you guys have a great weekend. Play some golf. And we're closer to Thanksgiving, which is crazy. But have a great weekend. We'll talk next week. Have a good one.